hope of my loved ones, the one who shattered my heart and destroyed my life. They may call me the villain, but they killed the hero.
This is who I was forced to be.
Love is a high-risk behavior.
I want to welcome my friend, my fight coach, and self-proclaimed villain, Ramon Hernandez, to the show High Risk for Heartbreak.
How we doing today? Thank you. I appreciate that intro. It was great, even though you left out my last name. But it's Thomas.
Thomas.
Okay.
Ramon Hernandez Thomas.
Everyone's going to be like, is Hernandez is really your last name? But
Listen, I just like it how it ends like that. You know what I mean?
it's strong.
Yes, very strong.
Hernandez.
Yes.
With a Z.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.
You're my first guest of season 3. You guys, I have 2 seasons prior to this. If you are just tuning into the show, the first season is on Spotify, so you guys can catch High Risk for Heartbreak on Spotify. All first season. Second season is here on YouTube, so go and check it out. We have lots to talk about, so we're definitely going to go ahead and jump right into it. So Ramon and I met, I don't even know how many years ago it is now. He is in the same industry as me.
Yes, sir. Yes, I am.
He's an entertainer, and in more ways than one, actually. In more ways than one. But we met we met before this set.
Mm-hmm.
But our first time that I can remember us meeting was on a set that you were coordinating for, and I was doing stunts for him. He was coordinating through my ex-fiance. So they're friends, and that's how I met Ramon. So
Yep.
It's been a long time.
It has. I think it's been about 5 years.
Yeah,
now.
maybe even 5 years, which is crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Because
so
in total, I've been doing stunts for about 10 years. And
okay.
yeah, so 5 years.
Okay, so let's get into it. Who are you? Who are you? What do you do? What do you like? What don't you like?
I'm human.
Okay,
You know? No.
that's a good start. Listen, because you know there's a lot of NPCs out here.
Right. No, so I'm a stunt performer.
Okay.
I've coordinated a few shows and movies.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also a police officer. And I just now own a store. So
Wait, he's saying that so modestly. Tell us about this store that, first of all, you just said so many things. You're a stunt performer and coordinator. You're also a police officer. Amazing. How long have you been in the police force?
So I just got back into it. I was in it for about several years, both in field and then working in Montgomery County.
Okay.
So like dealing with inmates and stuff like that. And then I stopped once I turned 30, like 29-ish, and then moved here to get into stunts.
Okay.
So,
Do you have a military background?
Mm-mm.
Okay. No
Nope.
military. Just straight into it, baby.
Just straight in the streets, trying to protect people.
Okay.
And it's mainly because I don't want to say at the time because it makes it sound like I stopped, but I enjoyed helping people, right? So like before that, I was working with kids and adults with autism. So it's just everything about my career outside of stunts has always been just
Service oriented.
yeah.
So police officer and now a store owner.
Correct.
What does that mean? What do you mean? Tell us.
So the store became it's inside Charlie's Collectible show. It's in Stone Mountain. It's pretty much like a safe space for people that's into cosplay, anime, like old school nostalgia type things. And I met the owner. We met the owner there, and he was just phenomenal. He had this vision, and I stumbled upon it and was like, oh, let me just go inside. And seeing the different vendors, so from being there when they first started to where they're at now and how much they've grown, it's amazing, right?
Wow.
And so they had a store in there that he was running, and Jovi was pretty much helping him out there.
Who's Jovi?
Jovi, she's my person. She's an amazing woman. She's very smart, very talented, and so she was running the shop. But to see their growth, and then just to see like how she's taking over the store and stuff like that, and then I like to help from the shadows. Like I don't like attention, so I like let.
We're going to get into that.
Yeah.
We're going to get
She's gonna
into that.
get me out of my comfort zone. And so I'm here for it. But yeah, so we recently partnered up and took over the store because he sold it to us, and now it's called Big Back Snack Shack.
Hey lovies, I want to interrupt you for a quick moment and ask something of you. You know I'm not big on asking, but I have a goal to reach 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year 2025. If you've ever built anything, you know how hard it can be in the beginning stages to enroll people into the vision. You also know how much every bit of support matters. And if you want to see more of this content, let me know by subscribing and liking this episode. The season is just getting started, and I want to make sure that these messages are making it out to the hearts that need it. Thank you guys so much for the support, and I'm so excited to grow with you. All right, let's get back to the show. Big Back.
Yeah, Big Back Snack Shack. Okay.
Big Back Snack Shack. Now listen, we all got a little big backness in us.
Yeah.
I know I do. We got M&Ms right there. Right there. You can't see them.
Got the snacks.
Okay. Big Back Snack Shack. What kind of snacks?
So we have international snacks. Like we
Okay.
have American snacks, but you know, we want to be able to have stuff that people really can't have easy access to or
Love
have to
that.
go on the internet, but just physically you can go and say, hey, I can look at this and see if I want it. So
Yeah.
stuff from Japan, China, Korea, Thailand. We want to expand more to like having like cultured Jamaican snacks or Caribbean snack, like just the straight snacks that you would get from overseas or anywhere from
like
overseas.
international snack
Correct.
shop.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Yeah, because you don't see too
Yeah.
many of that, or it's always just one specific like.
Little novelty.
Yeah,
stuff.
you don't get to have like the experience of the world in a snack shop, you know, and it looks like a bodega. So I'm from New York, so we just that corner store feel.
We
you know,
just learned something new. Okay, so he's from New York. What part of New York are you from?
Brooklyn.
I love New York. I don't like Brooklyn though. Sorry.
The shade. No, I'm joking.
No, I can't say I don't like Brooklyn. Brooklyn's very hard to navigate.
It is. It's one of those where you have to always be on defense. Like you have to be aware. You have to stay guarded because it's either, I don't want to say kill or be killed, but it's definitely one of those like if they know you're not from there, you're a target. You know?
Really?
Yeah.
Oh
And
man.
at least that's how it was when I grew up. You know,
Okay.
and then I moved to Camden, New Jersey, and it wasn't no difference. It was just
New Jersey, New York.
one rough spot to another rough spot, and it's like
Yes.
you either know how to fight or you just constantly be a punching bag. So
Okay.
you know,
Is your background, do you have a fighting background since you're a stuntman, you're a police officer? Do you have a background in fighting, martial arts and stuff like that?
yeah. So I started off as a boxer, and
wow.
then I moved to Muay Thai because I didn't want to just be limited to just hands and not do stuff with my feet or knees or anything like that. So once I transitioned to Muay Thai, it was just more like it felt more at home, right? Because for me, this is going to sound bad, but growing up, whenever I did get into a fight, it was one of those things where it's like, if I fight someone, I can't, and it's never me starting, right? It's always me having to defend myself. I never want to do the same thing twice. You want to keep them not knowing what can happen, right? So like, I'll give an example. One time I got into a fight, and I made someone bite the curb. Would I ever do that again? So that's it's going to sound so bad. So it's basically when you put someone's mouth on the sidewalk and you.
Ramon.
I know. I was young. And
How
then
do you even?
yeah, but moving on from that, so hearing that sound, I was like, I'll never want to do that again because I had a temper problem. Like it was one of those like anger that was just manifested from a lot of stuff, and we'll get into it, but a lot of stuff that happened to me. Okay. So with men or males in in a situation where if I had to defend myself, that version of me came out, because I didn't have no control over that. You have a control, but when you're younger, your sense of having that control is not as tight as an adult.
You have to hold that in.
Right. And so the next time I got into a fight with someone, I was obviously not going to do that, but I lit my hand on fire and punched the dude. So
pyrotechnics.
My temper problem was was really, really bad. So
Wow. These are stories that I'm actually just now learning about, Ramon. I had no idea.
Yep.
Wow, that's
This
pretty
is why
intense.
I'm so quiet when people see me, because I
Yeah.
observe first, then versus like over talking or
Yeah.
doing anything like that. So
I
it's
find that, those to be the most lethal weapons are the quiet ones. I think most people know that now, is the ones who talk the most tend to have the least punch. But the ones who are quiet, you've got to be very afraid of. Very afraid. Obviously, that's not me. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, so martial arts. So Muay Thai, boxing. So do you do Muay Thai now?
I haven't done it consistently as I should, with everything that I got going on, but I still train.
Yeah.
So
I used to train Muay Thai. Did you know that?
I did.
When I lived in New York.
Really?
Yes, I trained with the world. Well, she's not anymore, but her name is Emily Bearden. She was like the world lightweight champion for her size and class, which we were the same exact size. And I used to train at this Muay Thai kickboxing gym it was like right in Chinatown, Soho area. And I loved Emily. Emily, if you're watching, which you're probably not, I miss you. I miss you a lot. Yeah, Muay Thai was great. It was hard. Training was hard. It was great though. And then when I went to Thailand, I didn't get to see any Muay Thai kickboxing because we were there for missions, but it was nice to just be in Thailand and know that I was like near.
Yeah, near the home base
nearby.
of it. Yeah.
Near the home base of it. That's so cool. I love that. I definitely want to hear more about this biting the curb. You're gonna have to tell me that offline because that's crazy.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
crazy.
I know.
Now, okay, so I will tell you this. I had a couple fights in my life too. I not only fought boys.
Really?
Very much really.
That-
Very much really.
So am I the villain? Or
No.
No, I'm joking.
No, but my first fight was with this boy. I won't say his name. He pulled my friend off the monkey bars, y'all. First of all, don't try it. He pulled my friend off the monkey bars and I punched him in the face. Square.
No
Like
words.
no
it was
warning. No, don't do that. You pull my friend, you're getting punched in the face. So he ran away. We were on the playground. This was an after school care. And he ran away and got with his little friends and they were conspiring. And then he came back with his gang. He was ganged up. I'm not going to lie. He came back and I was like, oh, I was like, I can't defeat all of them. And so I ran and I told the teacher.
After you punched him.
I definitely did. And guess what? He got in trouble.
Okay. So
That was in 5th grade.
the takeaway, strike first.
Strike first.
As long as no one's around, strike first.
And then
tell someone. Okay. Okay. Kids, don't do that.
Yeah, that was one of them. And then there was another. This wasn't really even a fight, but this boy in my neighborhood. It was Christmas Day, and I had gotten these New Balance shoes. I might have told this story before. And they were all white New Balances, and I was so excited. But it had rained, so it's Florida. It's muddy, sandy, And we're outside in the grass playing, and I was like, "Hey, I just want to tell you, these shoes are new. Don't step on them." What did he do? Tell me what he did. What do boys do when you tell them not to do something? Don't pull my hair. Yank.
They absolutely
Don't step
do.
on. So he came over and he was like, kind of testing it. He had his foot like this, test. And then he stepped on my foot and there was mud. And I was like, you better run. I literally said, I think I saw red.
Okay.
Chased him down, pounced like a cheetah. Pop, right in his face.
So graceful. So graceful.
And then he ran home. And I did too.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
And it was over.
So this episode today is about two villains. When two villains meet, right? No.
Two villains meet.
Okay.
Yeah, it was over. And that was the last one. But like, I don't know why. I never fought any girls either. I was not a fighter. It just had these moments where I was like checking someone, I guess.
Gotcha.
That's how it ended.
Like, even for me, it was like, even though I knew how to fight, I wasn't one of those people who had to brag about it, right? Like, I wasn't one of those, like, I got to show off because I hate people that show off. Like,
the known fighters in
yeah,
the school,
they're
like,
like,
oh, they fight. Oh, they
the ones that like, but they did it for attention,
yes,
right?
yes.
Like, if you knew how to fight, to me, the best way to be disciplined, and I know this now, obviously as an adult, but you don't have to brag about it. You don't have to talk about it. You don't have to present yourself where it's like, it's all about me because I know how to fight and I can whoop it. Because understand that there's always going to be someone that can whoop your behind. You know what I'm saying? So
yes.
for me growing up, it was just like, the ones that did all that barking, I just like, all right, cool, whatever. And now if you touch me, that's different, right? But I hated the ones that just wanted all the attention or did stuff for the attention of females to try to show off, and then it's like, now I gotta humble you, and now I'm the one that's look like as the bad
Like the
guy.
villain.
Yeah, you know, absolutely.
Okay.
Um,
I have a
so yeah,
question.
yes.
Before you would fight, did you ever feel nervous? Like get those feelings of like
No,
nervousness?
actually, it was the opposite. I got it. I had a huge temper problem
Okay.
when it came to men, and so
Mm.
at that time, because I really wasn't much. I didn't fight a lot because before that, I was very much on this like, don't believe in violence, don't put your hands on anyone.
Yeah.
You can always talk your problem out. Like
Yeah.
I was big on that, and then again, we'll get into it, but there was a pivotal point in my life where it was like, that's not going to always work.
Sure.
And if you keep on this route, you're going to either be dead or taken advantage
That's
of.
right. Yeah.
So when that pivotal point happened, it was like, I have to make sure that I'm going to go home every day. And it's weird because we say that as police officers, you want to make sure you go home every single day.
Wow.
So whenever a fight did happen, for me, it was more of I would get excited because I try to exhaust every avenue to not get into this fight. But because you want to do it now, if you just wanted to fight because you just wanted to fight, then I'll just fight you. But if you were doing it, especially if you were doing it to show off for others, yeah. I got so excited to humble
Oh
you. Like,
wow.
yeah, it was. I remember every single fight, every person's name, and I remember I made a hit list of every single person that once I crossed over that pivotal moment, I went home and made a hit list of every single person that I needed to put hands on that ever did something to me. So yeah,
That's next level. Do
My-
you keep it in your phone? You still have it?
No, I don't have it.
Okay.
That was
Did you
definitely
make a new hit list?
Nope.
Okay,
no,
because you don't do that anymore.
I don't do that no more.
Okay,
That was
okay.
I think I was around like 12. This was between 12 and like 15. This time frame of all of that. So
Listen, kids don't fight anymore.
they don't. They call them YNs, and all they do is shoot. So
It's different out here.
yeah,
People don't put hands on each other anymore. I'm not saying putting hands on each other is right, but it's righter than shooting.
it's writers.
It's righter than shooting people. Okay, so I love all these stories already about your fight life that you had before you became the man that you are. So now you've learned how to hone all of this energy and contain it and use it in the right way. Obviously, he's a serviceman. He helps people and helps provide justice to people. And I think that's usually what's happening in these younger children and teenagers when they are fighting is providing justice in their own way, right?
Yeah,
In their own way. So now you're a stuntman. So how did you get into doing stunts? Was it because of the fighting that you were interested in it?
No, actually, I had no idea. So I didn't know that acting and being a stunt performer was separate. I thought that came with the turf, right? So I initially got into the filming industry to be an actor, thinking that that's going to get me. At the time, I didn't know it was called stunts. I just always called it the action star, the action hero. Because, back then you had all the old school guys, and it was like, oh, this is an action star. So I'm like, that's how I was supposed to, do it. And even since I was a kid, like I knew, and I know this cliche to say, but I always knew being on TV was the best way to make people smile. And so that's what attracted me to the stunts, right? So I got into it when I was 28, 29. I started doing background first, and then I would come out here to Georgia. I would drive 8 hours just to do background work, and then drive 8 hours back, and did that religiously. Like,
What were they paying for that to make sense?
at the time, they were only paying 64 over 8. It
Oh,
made no
man.
sense for me to do it, but because I knew that's the industry is where I wanted to be,
Yeah.
I had no problem putting in the work, right? So it was like, I can come out here and just be like, I don't feel like doing it, and go back. But when I was living in Ohio, there wasn't really that many movies out there.
Right.
So
Right.
the biggest one they had was when we did Fast 8 and Captain America Winter Soldier.
And you were in both of those?
Mm-hmm.
Doing stunts?
So, no, I was doing background on
Okay.
Fast 8. And then Winter Soldier, I was doing background. They had us doing a little bit of stunts, but again, I was still new, so I didn't know what I should have been speaking for.
Yeah.
And so then I just decided, you know what, I'm about to turn 30. I'm just going to give up everything that I have right now. I'm going to just take a leap of faith, and I'm just going to move to Georgia.
Wow. That's a big leap because, you know, the industry, it's not like the 9 to 5.
Correct.
It's not a 9 to 5 situation. Even if you're doing background regularly, it's still not a 9 to 5 situation.
Correct.
So up and down. Artists, we really go through a lot. So that's like
Yep.
a big step. I mean, I took that step as well.
Yeah.
It's a huge step.
Because it's like you're getting rid of your financial stability
Yes.
for the hope of landing another financial stability in your
Yes.
dream, right? Versus,
Yes.
oh, I just go to work versus, because it's a different feeling. When you go to work, you're like, I'm going to work. Or you're like, okay, cool, work is fine. But when you're doing your dream and your career, it's like, it don't feel like work. It's like the energy that you pour into it and the energy that you get from it is equal, right? So it's like you could be on set for hours upon hours and you would never be tired. But I guarantee if you at your 9 to 5, that first 4 hours, I don't drink coffee, but a lot of people do. So you like, I gotta have that coffee to stay awake. But but with the stunts, it was like I came down here, and once the background companies like Central Casting, Destination Casting, and Tammy Smith, like once they knew I was out here, they were like, "Oh, you live out here now?" I'm like, "Yeah," because at first they were skeptic to hire me because I was coming 8 hours, and they're like, "Are you going to be on time?"
Right.
You know, and I'm like, "Listen, to be early is to be on time. To be on time is to be late, and to be late is unacceptable." So
Come on now.
once I told them that, they were like, all right, we'll give you a shot. And I was never late. And what threw me off was the people that lived here would be late. And I'm like,
because they
got time, right? I don't understand that. Like, how are you late and it's in your backyard? It's right there.
Maybe it wasn't their dream.
Maybe.
Are we always on time for our dreams? That's the question. We're gonna have to make a podcast about that.
That's
Late.
Yeah.
We're late for the 9 to 5, but
We're on time for your dreams. Yeah.
We will
And
make
it's
sure
that.
to be on time for our dreams. I like that you said that you get an ROI. So when you are pursuing your dream, there's a return on that investment that you make. So it feels like nothingness. Being a creator, I know this specifically from him when he is creating fight scenes and stuff because we work together. He fight trains me here and there. We haven't done it as much recently because he's busy now, but and I'm busy too. What am I saying? To see, he's just so passionate about it. So I know that it feels like water off his back, like a duck, water rolling off their back, to be able to invest in that type of way. So let me ask you, so stunts, so you went from background to stunt work. Did you want to try acting too? Since you initially thought it was kind of like all one thing, or were you okay with like, oh, I can just use my body?
So I did, but I didn't want the attention of having a big role, if that makes sense, right? There's people who get into acting, obviously they love their craft, but they're gifted and they're presented with opportunities to be like the main star and this, that, and the third. I had no desire in that because I don't like attention too much. So for me, it was like, I'm fine with small roles. Like, I'll be the bad guy who says like maybe 5 lines here and there, but do all the physical stuff. And so like, even with me getting into stunt, and shout outs to Mark Hicks, who is my mentor, who tapped at me in years ago and gave me a shot. And I have to tell you that story at some point, but he saw how persistent I was with it, and he was just like, I'm gonna give you a shot. And he was like, you knocked it out the park. And the fact that you stayed humble, and I always had this rule of treating every day as if it's day one. No matter how far you get in your career, if you're respectful, if you treat every day as if it's day one, coordinators will want to work with you because, one, you have set etiquette, right? Yes. And you can do the job, you do the job well, and you're not causing problems on set. But back to the acting part, it it's too. I don't like too much of the camera in my
Okay,
face.
so it's not even about so it's not even about the celebritism that comes with having a big role or something like that as an actor. It's just the attention in general.
Correct.
Okay,
Yep.
wonderful. I
So-
do have a couple questions about that because this leads us to segues us in perfectly into what we do within the industry. So obviously, you guys know I'm an actress. I'm a stunt woman as well. You know, he is a stunt man and a stunt coordinator. And oftentimes you get to build up these amazing fights between heroic characters and the
Villains.
lesser dans,
Or the bad guys.
the bad guys. So you identify more with the bad guys.
Correct.
Okay. Do you... Well, so how does that work? Because the bad guys don't really usually get to win.
Correct.
So do you enjoy being this kind of, well, I guess it's not an underdog because usually the underdog rises, right? Do you enjoy being this character that doesn't get to win, even though obviously you're a winner as a child, doing curb faces or whatever what did he call it? What's it called? Eating
bite the curb. I do, only because the simple fact of it's not about. So when telling a story, visually you see the victory, right? But behind that, it goes with the process of perception. So when you create these fight scenes and you see the hero always win and things like that, at some point, depending, you see pieces of that hero understand the villain's perspective, right? Now, do I say all villains have a like noble mean or anything? No, some villains and some bad guys in shows or superhero movies are just bad, period. But take Killmonger, right? He was perceived as a bad guy, but his meaning for what he was doing, now his ways about it was different, but his meaning for what he was speaking about had facts to it, right? It wasn't just, I'm just causing disruption and chaos over here. No, I'm doing this to show y'all this is why I'm fighting for this. And a lot of people forget that when they see one perspective of the hero, it's just about his perspective and what he's been through. But what made this villain go through what he's going through, who he's protecting, right? Or he or she is protecting, what are they fighting for in a sense of what's important to them. It always gets overshadowed. So that's why I like to be the bad guy, because I want to, even if I lose that fight, I want to instill into the person that I'm fighting, now you understand why I'm fighting. Right. You may have won, but now you get to see why and what I'm fighting for. And now it gives you a better understanding of, I know I lack empathy, but it brings forth that empathy of, okay, I see it now and I get it, because you're not exposed to it. You don't know what you don't know until you're exposed to it. So that's why I like and you see me when I work, like when I'm creating a fight, my level of just engagement is like swamp. Like most people don't realize what I'm doing, because I'm like this. I'm looking down.
That's
then
what
I'm
I was
like
trying to get at earlier. Yeah. It's like you just are. Yeah, it's so zeroed in.
It's like, I don't want to say it's like giving birth, because I have no idea what that's like. But it's like when you get to mold and create something, it's like this level of fulfillment, and stunts provide me happiness, right? Yeah. I can honestly say without stunts, if I never got into it, I wouldn't know that level of happiness. But now that I'm in stunts, or have been in stunts, it's this level of just physically being able to expand my body to its limits, and it makes me happy. Like without stunts, it's definitely depressing. Like I know I hate not doing stunts because of how much it makes me happy.
Yeah, it's an outlet.
Yeah, it's a physical outlet.
It makes sense. You know, everybody has their ways of letting off their steam, dealing with anxiety, dealing with trauma, and some of it is vice and some of it is nice. I just made that up just now.
That's a bar.
No, bars. But truthfully, some people just would rather hurt themselves because they hurt versus help themselves. And it sounds to me like stunts it's like the perfect marrying of being able to that inner child of yours that you had when you were younger that has dealt with the things which we will get into in a little bit, dealt with the things that he has, being able to let that out in a safe space where people actually aren't getting hurt. Well, I shouldn't say they aren't, but not biting the curb. Okay, I'm gonna really like bring this up all the time now because that's crazy. But yeah, so now you've been able to kind of like shrink it into this thing, and it's healthy for you and others.
Yes. Yeah.
And you get to teach others how to do that because you are naturally a serviceman.
Yes, and I think, like you said, you hit the nail on it. It's a perfect blend of the being able to pour into the physical part of not necessarily hurting yourself, but that, as well as marrying it to helping others while like teaching the fighting, creating the fighting, like the creating the fighting and the camera angles and being able to like you have a vision that you have to bring to light and show to other folks. So when I know when I tell people like, hey, this is the camera angle that I want because when you create fights, the camera angle is a part of that fight. When people are watching, if it's just something that's just stationary and stagnant, it gets boring after a while. Yeah. But when you get to use that camera and bring the audience into that and make them feel like they're getting punched or possibly getting punched, like it's beautiful because it's oh man.
Well, that's so interesting that you say that because so here you are as a creator honing in your skills, and I keep going back to this, but I'm building upon this. You've honed in this skill set that you had from childhood. You've honed in this emotion that you've had from childhood, and you're creating. So you're creating a visual, you're teaching others to create a visual, and for the people that will be enjoying the visual, you're creating an escape. Yeah. Because that's what when we watch television, we watch film, we go there to escape in these other characters. And that's just, I don't know, something so beautiful about that. Like, it is. You know, your dream is to be able to create an escape. Yeah. But that's your escape.
Yes. Yep. And it's
love it.
it's so beautiful. It's,
yeah.
I'm like you see the excitement. No, it's just you see the excitement in my face because it's like I normally like when I talk about things, I know I sound like a lot of a talker now, but I really,
this is the most.
This is the most I've ever really taught, but it's because I love it, right? It's stunts is my everything, and creating fights and bending and blurring the line of reality versus like what you really can't do. Sure. And making it one. Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah, and there's definitely a difference between real life and stunt life.
Correct.
We try not to hit each other for real. We don't shoot each other for real. We don't, there's a lot that doesn't happen. So it's so interesting you being a police officer and like that, it's so juxtaposed, but also so similar as well.
If I pull someone over and the moment I'm sitting in the car watching them to the moment I walk up to their door, I'm imagining all the possibilities that can possibly happen, both good or bad. And then as I'm talking to them, I'm watching their mannerisms. So, because sometimes some folks that's doing bad stuff or going to do bad, they'll never show it. But you have to always pretend, and not pretend, but you always have to prepare yourself as if they are.
Definitely.
Because
you're on the ready.
Especially when people have tinted windows. Like the moment I come to their door, if all of their windows are tinted, roll them all down. Because I don't know who's in the back seat. I don't know if you're by yourself. You know what I'm saying? So it's like anybody can just be sitting back there putting the gun together and crack the window.
I'm starting to shiver right now thinking about that.
And it happens, So it's like to me, and this is the way I view anybody that I don't know. You're a possible threat until you're not. So, and that's the way I carry myself. Like
you're the threat.
As if they're the threat. Like, for me, anytime I come across anybody, even just walking down the street, even if I'm not in my uniform, everyone that is within some range of being able to contact me or touch me is a possible threat if I don't know you. So I have to keep myself guarded at all times.
So that is interesting because women, I think I can speak in general, probably feel that way as well.
You should. Whether you're a man or woman, you should, because you never know. Someone can just come up and just run up on you, and you wouldn't know.
I mean, I definitely, I'm always I'm always observing people.
Mm.
I'm always observing people, and I always, what do they have going on? I don't want to say I'm paranoid, but I think that my past has definitely put me in a place where I haven't a choice.
Yeah.
I actually have to be ready for whatever.
Yeah, you have to.
I told you that story about the time when I walked Samson. It was like 3 a.m. I had gotten home from set. I don't know if I told you guys this story, but it was like 3 a.m. I'd gotten home from set. I was doing stunt work really far out in the country. So it was a really late night. And I knew that Samson was going to be ready to go at 6 a.m. And I was not going to be because it was 3 o'clock. So I was like, well, we're going to go out to use the bathroom now. So we did. And I live in a very nice neighborhood, but any neighborhood is going to have its issues. So he and I go out. I come across this guy who's like listening to music on his headphones. He was fine. It's fine. I keep going. And I was aware of this man. And he actually crossed the street. So I think he didn't want me to think that he was a threat. Long story short, Samson's doing his business. He's squatting, literally mid-squat. And I see this guy creeping in the shadows. Literally like creeping in the shadows behind this Tesla across the street. And so I see him. And I just turned to him. I like turned to him, squared up, like flat body. I see you, sir.
Yeah.
Like I'm not like, oh no, there's somebody no, I see you. I don't want this fight. I don't want this fight, but if you want it, we will have it. And that was very much the energy. Like, if you want it, we'll have it. I don't want it, but you are not going to be leaving this unscathed. Okay. And so that was the situation. And he kind of just like stopped for a second. And I think he was assessing like, she's probably not the one. And he kept pushing. Samson's not going to do anything.
And it's also because you acknowledged the situation before he had a chance to, because what criminals do, or someone that's going to attack you, they're going for the hope and the fact that you don't see them coming.
Unaware. In my phone.
Right. Because when people be like this walking, I'm just be like, this is all stuff I was doing way before the whole police stuff. Like I just been anal like that.
You were just equipped for it already.
Because of past, trauma and stuff like that. Like I had no choice.
Okay. Well, this is beautiful.
Okay.
Not that we have to talk about trauma, because I'm not a big fan of trauma dumping. Or trauma corn. I'm not into that. I think that there are helpful ways that we can tell our stories, and that's why I don't dump all my stuff on you guys. I just kind of give you bits and bobs.
Origin of a villain.
Yeah, but here we are talking about the origin of a villain. So Ramon self-proclaims as a villain.
Yes.
I don't know. You guys tell me what you think. Put it in the comments.
Yeah.
Is he a villain? He is a very, very kind man. And I'm not saying villains are not kind, because like he said earlier, villains have, maybe it's not a story that they're trying to tell, but there's something truthful about why they are doing what they're doing. And I have begun to actually explore that as well when thinking about these two different character types. I feel like heroes have very little nuance.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have a lot of space to move before they fall from grace, right? As the hero. But villains have so much space to play and have a lot of redemption. I think that there could be redemption in their story. And so I want to talk about this with you, because it is something that you self-proclaim, is that you're a villain, and we'll talk about the cosplay and stuff as well. But tell me why. Why is that something that you identify so closely with?
Because it protects who I used to be. Right? So you take that child who was always carefree and just giving love to everybody, and no one having this mindset that everyone has good intentions, right? So as a child, you're a kid. You're experiencing life as a kid. Everything's a big, colorful place, and you're learning this and you're learning that. But then that individual, can sometimes come across folks who don't have good intentions. Yeah. Even if it's inside their own home, have the mindset of like, well, I'm gonna take advantage of this child because he's too nice. He's too, you know what I'm saying? And what happens is there's two paths you go on. Either you continue down that road and someone keeps taking advantage of you, and you can tie that into your adult life, right? Like, how many times have you, someone, we'll just say, walked over you and you've allowed it, right? So it becomes a point where It's like, do you go down that road and you just keep letting it happen, or do you say, you know what, I'm not going to allow this to happen because the natural true me wants to be kind, wants to, and then again, when I say wants to, it doesn't mean that I'm not kind, because you know me, I'm very respectful and very kind to everyone. But I don't tolerate BS. I don't tolerate hidden agendas. I don't tolerate, and I can pick up on it quickly because it's that whole being naive of, oh, everyone's so nice. It's not the reality of the world. The reality of the world is that you have folks that you come across that are going to be in your life for, the season, and some that's going to be in your life for a reason. And the ones that's usually in your life for the reason is the ones that stand longer than just certain seasons. You know what I'm saying? So for me, allowing myself to become that villain is to protect who I used to be, and the deep part of me that's still there, because that part of me got hurt a lot repeatedly, both mentally, physically, and verbally, just a lot. And it was like, hey, we're not going to let this happen no more, so you have to protect yourself.
Yeah, like an armor. It's like
Yeah.
armor.
Yeah.
Something that you said that actually really struck me is that either you're going to, when someone is predatory, in whatever way they can be predatory, it's not just in a one sense, right? There are many ways that people can abuse and prey on innocent, hopeful, untainted minds and souls. But one thing that it made me think about is, so one of my spiritual gifts is mercy showing. And so that's obviously been a gift that's been with me since I was a child, since I was born. This is something that God gave me, is the ability to show mercy to others. But the backside of that blessing is it makes me a target. And I will regularly give people chances, which continues to keep me as a target. So I am that one that people would keep preying on. And I would continue to forgive and allow, right? Versus like putting on this armor, like you're no longer going to be able to get this close to me or hurt me.
And we talked about that too, about being that person that would allow it, or just keep forgiving.
Keep forgiving. And you should forgive, but allowing people to come back into your life is not something that you should do. Speaking up is a way to stop, right? There are many things that we can do to, obviously as a child, I didn't know that. And I didn't know that was something that would manifest in a bigger way through literally until like a couple years ago, you guys. That's how deep rooted it is in me, because I'm battling against the fibers of how God designed me. So you understand, like it's not, and I'm not battling. God designed me this way for a reason. There's a reason. Somebody has to be Mother Teresa. No, someone has to show mercy. Someone out there has to be able to look beyond the offense. However, where are the protections for that? And that was something that I didn't have. Yeah. I didn't have that. And I didn't grow that shell.
And it's crazy that sometimes we're dealt hands, or we're dealt situations that we have to be that way. Yeah. And it's like, for me, it was more so because I have this not rule, but just this saying that I'll do whatever is necessary, even if it makes me the bad guy, for the greater good. And
that's a villain.
That's, for me, is because I don't want to be taken advantage of anymore. I don't want to. And most people are like, oh, that happened years ago. No, you got to understand, stuff that happened to you as a kid affects who you are now. Like, if I didn't develop this protective villain mode for myself, I probably would be someone that's just letting anybody run over them and walk over them because I'm so kind, right? And again, everyone's somebody's villain in somebody's story, but for me, it's literally to protect myself and those that I care about. Like my tribe, I will go to bats for, and it's like mainly because I was alone growing up, so I didn't really have that many friends. The household was chaos for me, and so my escape would be TV. My escape would be anything that wasn't part of reality, because reality was messy for me. you know. And so between my escape that I have or I had, and then the version of me that you see now was like, hey, we're gonna protect this child. You know, we're gonna protect who he is, and we're just, you know, we're still gonna be kind. Because I know on paper people are like, oh well, you sound like a horrible person. No, I'm really, really nice. It's just when you see me and don't know me, I look mean. I look like don't
Someone has
talk to
told me
me.
that before.
Yeah, I've gotten that so many times that it was like, yo, you look unapproachable. You look like you're ready for war all the time and you're always on guard. Yes, I am. But after getting to know me, you'll be like, oh no, this dude is really chill. He's really nice. He's really kind.
So it's interesting that you were talking about, sorry, I just want to interrupt you really quickly, about protecting this, what's left of the innocence that of that little Ramon.
Mm-hmm.
And you're still protecting that
Mm-hmm.
to this day, which I think is necessary actually. Although I don't know what therapists would say about that. That's not really my jurisdiction. But I find that when I encounter people, even you, or see people that are the quieter ones, are more reclusive, are reserved, maybe they look less approachable. I personally gravitate towards them. Now, I'm not one to gravitate towards many at all, actually, because I tend to be, even though I'm loquacious on here, I tend to be quieter in social settings. So people usually come to me. But those are the people that I'm like, oh, my people. You know, I'm like, yes, finally, my people. We don't have to talk if we don't want to, you know. But I know there's a story behind those eyes.
Yeah.
I know there's a story behind the countenance of that face. And people would be quick to judge and say it means one thing when I know there's something else brewing in that soul that is it's the opposite of what we're seeing on the outside. That shell is a shell.
Yeah.
It's
you had said
armor.
that to me. Yeah, when we first had our conversation, you were just like, because we were talking and you were like, I think, what did you say? You had said something along the lines of like, there's day and night to you. And you were like, on the surface, I'm seeing this, but deep down, there's more there. And because we didn't know each other too much at the time, it was just like our first like deep conversation. But you were like, there's a whole different version of you in there that's surrounded by this like protection, and it's day and night.
And that's the version that I like to know of people. I don't want the shell. Not to say that I have to get my way in there, because I'm not going to go beyond any gate that someone puts up. But I'm just, that intrigues me. I want to know more about what's going on there, because I personally have that, but I don't have the shell.
Yeah,
I don't
my
have the
shell
shell.
is huge, and it's just the fact like I'm a firm believer of protecting your peace, and that peace doesn't just mean like peace on the outside, peace on the inside as well. Like you have to stand up for yourself. You have to protect yourself, because if you don't, no one's going to do it for you.
Yeah.
And you'll spend tears, you'll spend emotional drainage, mental exhaustion. You'll spend all of that trying to hope that people will protect that, you know?
Wow.
And
our perspectives are literally like the direct opposites of each other.
Yep.
Because what you're saying is me.
Mm-hmm.
But you do the opposite of that.
Correct.
And maybe this has something to do with me being a woman, you being a man. It may have, or the nature of our traumas. But I've always been like, why hasn't anyone rescued me? You can't. Even though I will take care of myself as best I can.
Mm-hmm.
I think there was the little girl in me was like, how come when someone didn't save me from this? Tell me sooner. Help me sooner.
And
whereas you were like, I expect no one to save me from
this.
this.
Yeah, and that's the crazy thing. It's like you can take two individuals who have been through the same exact thing and still get two different outcomes.
Definitely. Oh, for sure.
So it's like where, like you said, where you were like, how come no one's came to save me? Where it was, for me, it was, I'm standing alone and I'm like, no one's coming. And if I don't do anything, I'm gonna drown in this. So I have to save myself. And however that person comes out, this is how we're going to carry ourselves, and we're going to protect us, protect our peace. So yeah.
Wow. Okay. So, it makes so much sense to me why you identify as a villain, because you're not speaking about this like you're some monster coming to wreak havoc on
Correct.
people's days. It's really more or less about saving what is left
Of you.
of
And
you.
if you, and then those that are important to you, to care and protect them, because sometimes they may not see, like, you ever be in a situation where you're around folks and you be like, yeah, that person don't have good intentions for that individual, and you can pick up on that before they do.
I don't know if I've ever been able to identify that.
Really?
Yes, but that is my issue.
Okay.
I don't, because I don't vet well.
And that's, it's because I observe a lot of it. I observe more than I speak. So when I'm in public settings, you don't hear me talking that much at all. I'm usually just watching, and that's why I like when you said about the difference is because, like, when you don't know me, I'm not talking. I'm watching you. I'm paying attention to you, right? But once you get to know me, you're like, oh, this dude is energetic. He's a ball of joy. He's But now that's me saying, hey, I can let my guard down with you. So you get to see that fun side. You get to see that, like, he's just, now everyone calls me cop mode, even when I wasn't a police officer at the time. They be like, oh, he's always in cop mode because he's always protecting everybody and making sure no one gets too close to us.
That is who he is. Yes.
But again, it's just the simple fact that because of everything that I've been through, and primarily, and it's no shade, it's my little brother's dad that did all of these things, who put me in a position to where I had to be where I'm at now. And then the branch off from that was noticing that other men were like that. So you had to, because I've been through the, child abuse. I've been through, like, I remember he stabbed me because I think I was a kid, but I was loud with something. I was playing with toys. I guess I was being too loud, and he stabbed me in my shoulder. And I was just like, and that's why and it's crazy how I fell into stunts, because I have a high tolerance for pain. So that outlet of the physical abuse, but it's not really abuse because we train to do the stuff, but that physicality is all that my body knows.
Yeah.
So it enjoys that part of it versus the reality of, the seriousness and
that makes me think about how I do believe that we are so beautifully designed, and the way that God orchestrates our steps is all very purposeful. Even the things that he allows to happen within our lives, as traumatic as they are, obviously he's not doing them. We are doing them to each other, right? You've been stabbed by someone that was not God, right? You've been stabbed. Yeah. I've been hurt by someone, and there's this allowance, which is a very hard thing to balance in your mind. Like, why would you let it, though? I could just be going on without that experience. However, those experiences built you to be able to endure where he had you going in the first place. So maybe if you were soft like me, like y'all, listen, I'm not really built for stunts like that. I'm not. I do what I need to do.
But she be killing it, though. She do be killing it.
I do my things. I do my things.
I was gonna say, take your bow.
No, I know. I don't want it to sound like I'm not doing my things, because I do my things.
She be killing it.
But it hurts.
Yeah.
It hurts, and I get hurt.
Yeah.
As a person, I get hurt physically. I'm my neck. I'm like, I hurt. Yeah. And I acknowledge that too.
Where I'm over here like, yes, like
more pain.
And it's just, it's so weird how, like, our bodies will react to certain type of contact, whether it's physical in a good way or physical in a bad way. I remember he asked me, like, hey, what do you want to do when you grow up? And at the time I'm a kid, so I didn't know, because all I said was, I want to be a cartoon. I want to be on TV. And because when you're a kid, cartoons made you what? Smile, laugh. So I was like, oh, I want to be.
And they were real to you.
Yeah. I was like, I want to be a cartoon. I want to be on TV so I can make people smile, smile and have. And he was just like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. He was like, you'll never be on TV. And he, as a grown man, this man punched me in the face and was like, you will never amount to the actors and a celebrity. That's why I don't care about the celebrity. Wow. But yeah, he
don't brush past that. Don't skirt past that.
But yeah.
No, okay, hold on. So Ramon, before we're gonna circle back right now.
Okay.
It's gonna be a quick
Talking
circle.
about
It's a
U-turn.
U-turn. Before we started recording, you and I were talking about love languages, and you told me number 3 for you was words of affirmation, and I told you that was number 1 for me. But receiving words of affirmation. Now I give words of affirmation as well because I love to receive it, and oftentimes that's what we do. But you told me you didn't like to receive.
It's not that I didn't like to receive. I can be honest with myself and know or say that I don't know how to receive.
That's what he said.
Yeah.
You say you don't know how to receive it. It makes you feel what?
It makes me feel weird because it's like I was never given that. So
and
when someone says it, I'd be like, and it's not that I don't care or don't appreciate it. It's just I don't know.
What do I do with this?
What do I do with it? Right. You know. And so that's why I'm so used to giving affirmation and acts of service and just doing for others and not really doing for myself, if that makes sense.
So, and I told you, I said, that's so interesting because I had an encounter where I was receiving condemnation, words of not affirmation, condemnation, and how irksome that was to my spirit because I need to be affirmed heavily. And so for you to give that and not know what to do with it when it is given to you is very, to me, it makes so much sense with that moment that you just had, like, oh, I have been condemned as a child. I've been told as a child that I wouldn't amount to the things that I actually am now
doing. Yeah.
That was maybe fuel and motivation for you. But also that condemnation. This is just me. I'm just saying things. Okay?
No, you're fine.
I know you have a therapist. I'm just saying things.
No, this is good. This is good.
That's probably something that has informed how you feel about words of affirmation.
Yeah.
Is that condemnation was the first thing that took precedence in your mind. Condemnation is very hard to deal with. Judgment is very hard to deal with, especially as a child when you have no other like reference point. To hear those things said to you about you, you believe it.
Yeah. And especially because it's like you have this, it's like when you're a kid, you have this light that's like, I want to do this, I want to do that. But when you hone that light into a beam where it's focused on what you really, really want to do, in that moment it was to be on TV. I didn't know it meant to be on TV at the time because I said I wanted to be a cartoon, and obviously we can't do that. But in that moment, it was the quickest way to make other people smile and laugh is to be on TV. So for me, that was the focal point. And so to have that stripped away, and in that moment, both verbally and physically, I was like, okay, maybe I did something wrong. You know, maybe I said something wrong. I'm supposed to, you know, play. And like playing the whole sports, I can physically do it. I love doing it. Do I like talking about it? No, I don't care because I'm not the one that actually playing the sport. And that's what I think he wanted. He wanted just to him a normal child that does what everybody else do. And I was like, I can't give you that. I can't. That version of me that you want, I can't give that. Now, as a child, you're not speaking in this way. Now you're just like, okay, and you try it out, and you're like, okay, I really don't care about this stuff, right? So to have that focal point of your light, your personal light, being shattered or taken away from you, it becomes one of those like either I'm going to do this at some point, or you're just like, damn, maybe this is not for me. But I guess I still made it. You know, I'm obviously, and like I said, I think that's why I'm not worried about the whole celebrity things because of that. You know, he was like, "Oh, you're never going to be a celebrity."
Did you believe him?
I wouldn't say I don't think I believed him. I just think I thought that was too far of a reach for me, and I think that mindset carried into why I really didn't care about the celebrity stuff with acting, where it's the physical that attracted me. You know, so.
But you wanted to be a cartoon.
Yeah.
And cartoons are visible.
Yep. So
I'm just wondering if that
I think it does.
That
That's
little boy can be met again before what was said to you. That's what I was really trying to. I wasn't able to articulate that in the moment, but what I was just thinking is like, you are words of affirmation. You are a cartoon.
Yeah.
You are the celebritism. You can do those things. You actually are in the industry that this would be very simple for you to do.
Correct. And I think
they would
that's
feed
why
you a
with
line
the,
and you would be the main thing.
with the creating the fights, that's
Yeah.
my cartoon. That's
But
my,
is that servicing all of you?
what?
All of the little boy?
Which part?
The only being behind the scenes. Is that little boy all the way met? Or are you meeting the parts that are most comfortable to meet?
I think I'm focused on the comfortable parts because I think that's why I operate from the shadows a lot, because it's like I don't want too much attention. It's just enough to bring forth my vision or my light, but not too much to where the spotlight's on me, because I like to shine the light to others. So yeah, I think it's just my villainous is what's kind of holding the innocent or inner child along on this journey.
Yeah.
You know, as I walk through life.
He's still there, but he's comfortable.
He's comfortable. I think he's comfortable. And because of how I've conditioned myself to be, it's made it a safe space for him to play, and that outlet is stunts. You know, that's why I get so happy whenever I do stunts or get booked. It's never been about the money. Like most people be like, "Oh, stunt performers, y'all make so much money." Cool, but
and somebody on set is saying,
yeah,
that. Oh, okay,
yeah.
okay. I was like, just random people know.
No.
Okay.
Well, random people they combine it all and be like, "Oh, you on TV? You must be making money."
You know
like,
Tyler Perry.
or they'll be like, "What's up, nephew? What's up, unc?" I'm like, "Oh,
don't forget about me."
Right, like.
Yeah.
But
we've all heard those.
But yeah, it's stunts is my outlet, and that makes me happy. That's where my villain can take a break and let the inner child come out.
Okay. So you were talking about, I'm so stuck on the cartoon. I think that is just so cute. You know, I nanny a little boy. He's 2, and the way that he believes everything is so freeing for me. And also it's a tremendous responsibility, because children do believe everything. They believe everything you tell them until you give them a reason not to. So you have to be very careful and diligent with how you handle that responsibility. But you saying that you wanted to be a cartoon is making me think now about how you also live that out in other ways in your life. So we're going to talk about cosplay now.
Yes. Yes.
So cartoons, villains, heroes, right? Superheroes. All of us, when we were children, wanted to take on some of these personas, right? And you do that through cosplaying. Can you tell us a little bit about what cosplaying is?
So cosplaying is when basically you dress up as your favorite character.
Okay.
Whether it's anime, Marvel, DC, video game characters, like any character that you watch, you basically dress up as.
Right.
And go to these conventions and have fun with your friends. So
and what do they do, the conventions?
You have like different panels. You can learn. They have some where you can learn how to make your costumes, like
that's
sewing.
nice.
You have some where they'll teach you how to do like 3D printing, how to make armor. Like the guy that I hire all the time to make my cosplay, his name is Tevin. He's an amazing 3D artist and foam creator. He made my Spider-Man 2099 outfit, which I took that to DreamCon and everyone was loving it. He's also made my Black Beetle.
Yes, that was your most recent one, right?
Yeah.
That was last year?
Mm-hmm. That was a heavy piece. I took that to New York.
Okay.
I took it to New York.
It's crazy. Like it's a for real thing here. Okay.
Yeah.
These people that cosplay are not playing any games. They're taking childhood to the next level.
Absolutely.
Right? Imagine childhood fully fulfilled as an adult with the money to do it and the resources to do it, and no one telling you can't do it.
Listen, all I'm gonna say is if you go to a convention, and all my cosplayers will tell you, you make sure you have a set amount of money so you don't go over, because you're going to spend. You're going to spend money. The Galleria, right? Like your marketplace. So you have different vendors.
Oh yes. Okay. On vendor things. So collectibles.
Collectibles.
Okay.
Comics.
Sure.
Posters.
Okay.
And because when you see your favorite character, you're like, I gotta get that. I need to get that and add it to the item list of all the other ones that I have. So.
Okay, so people would say cosplaying is playing dress up. Is that how you see it?
No.
Do you think of it as playing make believe?
No, because you're getting to do things that you wouldn't normally do on a regular, right?
Well, what about as a child? Children played make believe and dressed up.
This is true.
Yeah.
So it connects in that way.
Yeah.
But you're an adult now, so you got adult money.
Yes.
You got
resources.
You got resources. You got.
It's next level.
And you get to be around like-minded people, right? When you were a kid and you would do certain things, the first thing you would do or get is judgment. Yes. You wouldn't get that's pretty cool, because people, when they don't understand something, they fear it or they be quick to judge it.
That's right.
But when you're an adult, when you're around other people that's an adult too. Now don't get me wrong, you get some different ones in there, but
yes,
that
you do.
take it too
I've
far.
I've never been, but I've seen.
Yeah, that take it too far or do too much. You're like, all right, chill out. Yeah.
That's cool. Wow, I didn't know the conventions had all of that stuff going on. Yes. So when is the next one?
The next one is MomoCon, which is next month, which is May 22nd through the 25th.
Is that here in
It's
Georgia?
here, yep. Okay. And I don't know if they still do it, because last year it intertwined with an Ed Sheeran concert, so it kind of bumped heads. But it used to be 4 days of 24 hours for the 4 days of nonstop fun. Like, just
4 days of 24 hours?
Just
actually 24 hours?
Just not from the moment they started to Sunday 5 o'clock when it's over.
Wow.
So that Thursday to Sunday, and especially if you stay at the hotel, you're outside to like 4 or 5 in the morning, not even caring. Your eating habits is going to be, that's your cheat week, or your cheat period right there.
Just nonstop. It's literally fulfilling your childhood.
Yes. And it's
actually
so much fun.
And so this is why I wanted to talk about this, because I think people that allow themselves to cosplay or, dress up in these types of ways, there's other types of conventions too, but cosplay specifically, since that's something that you do, people that are really into anime, people that are into the arts in general they're always reconciling with their inner child, right? They're always reconciling with this young being that maybe didn't get to do enough of it, or never wanted to stop doing it, never wanted to stop playing. And I think there's so much freedom in that. There's so much freedom in that. And so I want to give a quick little blurb about some stuff. So I did some research on cosplay, because I was like, I don't know enough about it. I've never done it before, but it sounds great. But I'm also an actress, so I often get the chance to put on different roles and hats, and get to fulfill it in that way for myself.
That's literally okay. What? So I just had a moment. Acting and becoming a different character is basically like cosplaying.
It is.
That's literally, yeah. When you said it, because I never connected the two, because I always looked at it as work and this is what I love to do, and then cosplay is separate. But it's literally, you go to set, you put on a costume, you go do your thing. Conventions, you go to the conventions, you put on a costume, you go do it. That's
you're
crazy.
You're just not being paid, you're paying.
Yeah. Your resources going out while this one's coming in.
Exactly.
So, but go ahead.
Yeah, and that's why I respect artists so much, because they're they're doing some work on a soul level every single time they step on those sets. Every time they're in the writer's room. Every time they're, doing location scouting. Right? There's so many moving parts to creating a film, a television show, and even setting up conventions like this for people to come. There's so many moving parts for people that want to reconcile with their child, but also inner child, but also those in the doing you're reconciling. Anyway, sorry, I'm getting too deep. I wanted to share this with you guys. So there is a psychology behind cosplay. So it started many hundreds of years ago in like masquerades, right? Masquerades were kind of the thing. Theater, right, when it was extremely big, was a way for people to cosplay, to act out different storylines and different characters, put on masks, lots of cool clothing, and assume a new identity, asserting their childhood or their childlikeness. And oftentimes it was used as a way to work through trauma and to escape, right? So I was reading some blogs. There's this woman, she's a psychologist, if I'm not mistaken. I'm going to paraphrase it. Her name is Drea Letamedi. I want to say that's how you say her last name. And yes, she is a psychologist. So she specializes in the intersection between social sciences and fictional heroism. So she said, and this is a paraphrase of what she said, is that cosplay is positive and it has a positive effect on human cognition. It increases your emotional literacy and it saves you from maladaptive behaviors. Depression.
Mm-hmm.
It saves you from social anxiety. It saves you from loneliness, or should I say helps with those things. Maybe it doesn't save you, right? Maybe it helps with those things, right? It helps you get out there.
Mm-hmm.
When you're able to put on a mask, put on a costume, you might be able to find more of that inner child of yourself. Yeah. And so cosplayers are putting off these stressors that us in our everyday 9-to-5 work, our white collar jobs aren't able to do unless they're cosplayers as well. And so I just thought it was so interesting, like, wow, you're taking on these fictional characters and able to bring them to life in such a way, but it's bringing you to life. Correct. To do it. Yep. And then it also said that in adolescence, it helps with their emotional literacy. It gives them less social anxiety. They have, in adolescence, we're doing a lot of like identity finding. Mm-hmm. So we're bouncing our identity off of all these factors, our environment, other people, our family members, our chosen family members, which would be like friends and stuff like that. And the idea of being able to put on a mask, be in theater, go out and cosplay helps them assert their identity. It helps them become more bold. It helps them with behaviors like aggression and hostility to kind of process through those things. Like you were talking about, you were a fighter and you honed that in. And now you use it in a way that is resourceful. Correct. That returns on the investment that you make in it. And so I just thought that was really cool. I wanted to share that with you guys. I know some people are probably like, cosplay, oh, that's crazy, whatever. Sure, you might have your thoughts and your judgments about it, but there are some studies that have been done about it. While it is an understudied area, there are some studies, and I think that it's valuable. It's valuable to add that.
And there's different conventions, like you mentioned, and the one thing I wish that people or us as people would do more is actually try something before judging it, right? Mm. So you have those that go, I would never go to cosplay because it's a bunch of, weirdos doing this and nerds doing that and they're dressing up and da-da-da. But how many times you seen a woman throw on a wig, throw on a
careful
makeup?
Now. Careful.
I'm just saying. So, and at some point they're cosplaying reality. Yeah. Right? They're throwing on their wig, they're throwing on the makeup and doing all this extra stuff to present themselves a certain way.
Yes, because that's what they want people to see.
Correct.
Yeah.
So when you go to these conventions, I challenge any of you that has never been to a cosplay convention, go to one, whether it's about Star Wars, whether it's about what other popular shows are out there. I mean, I can mention
it could be like comics.
Yeah, whatever that you like. If you like, I don't freaking know, just whatever you like, go to a convention with other like-minded people where they have parties and there's people talking. I guarantee you'll enjoy yourself and you'll see. Because I've brought someone to a convention who's never been because he thought it was weird. And he was like, this is actually fun. He didn't dress up or anything. He just went in regular clothes. But just seeing how people was just kind to one another, how people were just, hey, you lost, you need help. Like, just because you don't see that in a regular. Like, you don't see people going out their way to try to help folks or anything. But to see that in a convention where everyone's on the like-minded same stuff, enjoying the same things, even if it's a bunch of different stuff, but we're just vibing and we're just enjoying our space. Yeah. So.
Yeah. Okay, that's good. Well, I definitely need to make it out to one. I don't know who I would be, but I would definitely be dressing up because I like to dress up. So I would have to figure out. It would probably be Storm because I love Storm, and I would want to do her in the rightest way. I used to actually always dress up as Storm on Halloween for like years and years when I was in college and stuff. So it's a dream of mine to play Storm.
And that's another thing.
Anyone out there Want to make that come true.
Yes.
I've been
you
told I'm too short, though. The stunt coordinator told me that. I'm
No,
too small.
you can do stories.
I was like, listen, there's camera angles, okay?
Right.
Anyway.
But it's crazy because you have folks that be like, oh, I'll never go and dress up at a cosplay, but then they're at a Halloween party dressed up. It's the same thing.
It's the same.
It's the same exact thing.
You're right.
I'm just saying, I'm very honest in that.
But a little
right.
bit more commitment, I think. Well, some Halloween costumes are very committed to. So.
Yeah.
But you're right. You're absolutely right. You're right. Why not try it on for size?
I ain't gonna sugarcoat. I'm letting you know, if you go to Halloween parties and stuff, but you won't go to a cosplay, you're being a hypocrite. Okay, you're being hypocritical.
He said it.
Okay, go ahead.
He said it. I didn't say it.
I guess now that more of the villain is coming out, like I ain't gonna leave you no room to make excuses. Nah, I'm holding you accountable. Okay?
Yes, he said I want to see them costumes. Okay.
This is fun. We gonna need a part 2 to this because folks gonna be like, this villain origin story is pretty interesting.
We have to figure it out. I would like to do a more in-depth look at how all of this ties into your childhood because I'm I'm interested in that. Yeah. I've always been interested in that.
And I feel like, I think that it'll help shine some light to a lot of folks who won't come out and talk about those things. I'm not saying that you got to come out and talk about it, but it'll help to hear that you're not alone in the situation that may have happened. It's just
definitely
protect your peace at all time, no matter what.
Yeah.
So
and
even if it makes you the villain. So
I think there's definitely a word in this, and I'm going to continue to explore this side. I think I have one more podcast episode kind of around this. Because I think there is something very valuable to what you're saying. Although I think most times we just want to see people be the heroes and not realize that the villain is the one that propels the hero forward into their heroicness, right? Without that opposition of the villain, the hero doesn't get stronger. They don't get better. They're not saving anyone from anything, right? So there's this necessary part of this, what in film and television we see as evil, but as we're coming to understand, all villains are not bad. Right. Some are just bad, but all villains are not bad, and they all definitely have a story. So we're going to go ahead and close out with this. Ramon, I thank you so much for coming on to the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
This was so great. I'm so glad to have you on, and I hope I get to have you on again soon.
I would love to come back because you'll always see me in my Deadpool.
Oh, yeah. So we didn't even talk about Deadpool.
I'm going to come back. That's my favorite cosplay to cosplay.
But you guys would have seen it by this time because I'm going to put some videos up of him in his Deadpool cosplay. So I appreciate you so much for coming on. Is there anything that you want to leave people with? Anything brief that you want to tell them to help them out?
Yes. Never be afraid to be yourself. Only God can judge you. And if there are people that are in your life that's taking away from you, eliminate that by cutting that off and pour back into yourself. So if it's not for the benefit of improving those around you, let it go because it's just taken away from you.
And we don't have time to waste.
Nope.
We don't. We think we do, but we don't. Well, thank you so much, Ramon, for coming on. Where can we find you? Do you have socials that we can follow?
You can follow me on Instagram of Ramon 4 Stunts. That's RAMON, the number 4 Stunts. Twitch, Ramon for Stunts _ TikTok, Ramon for Stunts as well. Facebook, Ramon Thomas. Well, according to her, is Ramon Hernandez.
Hernandez. I love it. I want to thank you guys for coming on and watching. Feel free, like I said, to leave some comments below. Talk to us. Let us know how you liked this. If you want to see more content like this. And as always, thank you for loving yourself first so you can then go and love your neighbor. Until next time.
Why don't you stay a little longer? You like what you like, right? Subscribe to the channel so we can spend a little more time together. And maybe comment your thoughts because I care what you're thinking. Love is the risk and the reward.